Hello from Lagos, Nigeria, and welcome to Sahara TV Now. My name is Zainab Yusuf. As we all know, supplementary elections have been concluded after weeks of maneuvering and headless speculations due to the March 9th decision to declare the election inconclusive in the first place. What are the key takeaways? Today we are going to be exploring the winners and the losers at a glance during this program. But before then, here are the news stories making headlines in the country today. Buhari receives minimum wage report from Bismarck Rwani and vows to reveal it expeditiously. The Technical Advisory Committee on Implementation of the National Minimum Wage has presented its report to President Muhammadu Buhari. The President received the report, which was presented by Bismarck Rwani, Chairman of the Committee and Managing Director CEO of Financial Derivative Company Limited, on Monday at the Council Chamber of the Presidential Villa in Abuja. President Buhari, after receiving the report, has promised to work expeditiously on the report. I hope something good comes out of that one. Don't renew license of oil block owners in Nigeria, Falana tells Buhari. Mr. Femi Falana, Senior Advocate of Nigeria (SAN) and human rights lawyer, has urged President Muhammadu Buhari not to renew the licenses of oil block owners in the country. In a letter addressed to the President dated March 20, 2019, Falana commended him for taking the decision to revoke the licenses of some oil block owners. According to Falana, majority of oil block owners sublease them to offshore companies as they lack the fund and the technical expertise to develop the oil and gas industry. He noted that if the appropriate action was not taken, he would file a suit against the Nigerian government on the matter. That's a huge one if you ask me. Another building collapses on Lagos Island, making the third in 2 weeks. That's sad. Another building has collapsed on Lagos Island, bringing to 3 the number of buildings witnessed in that section of Lagos in the last 2 weeks. According to a Lagos Island resident who spoke with Sahara reporters, the Monday collapse, which occurred in Kakawa Street, is a residential building. We hope the governments are going to do something quick and fast about that. Amechi has hijacked our party. AAC Rivers Deputy Governor candidate resigns and joins PDP. Akpo Bombay, Deputy Governorship candidate of the African Action Congress in Rivers State, has resigned his membership of the party. Ye conveyed his decision to Bakpomabo Awara, governorship candidate of the AAC, in a letter obtained by Sahara reporters on Monday, in which he also announced that he was joining the People's Democratic Party, PDP. He said his decision was influenced by the complete hijack of the structure and administration of our party by a faction of the APC in Rivers State, led by the Minister of Transportation, Rotimi Amechi, for his own personal political ambition. He said in this circumstance, he could not in all conscience continue to lend support to the selfish political venture of the Minister of Transportation, which does not mean well for the progress and development of the people of Rivers State. Court clears the way for INEC to announce Bauchi governorship election result. A federal high court sitting in Abuja has dismissed a suit challenging the decision of the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, to conclude, collate, and announce the governorship result in Tafawa Balewa local government in Bauchi State. Muhammad Abubakar, incumbent governor of the state and candidate of the All Progressive Congress, APC, had challenged INEC's decision to collate the result. However, on Monday, the presiding judge, Justice Iyang Ekwo, ruled that the court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the matter. Court voids APC's governorship state assembly primaries in Zamfara. The Court of Appeal sitting in Sokoto State, led by Justice Tom Yakubu, on Monday struck out the judgment of its Zamfara High Court on the All Progressive Congress primary election that produced the party's candidate for the governorship, national and state assembly elections. The court nullified an earlier judgment by the Zamfara High Court allowing the party to present candidates in the 2019 election. Senator Kabiru Marafa, chairman of the Senate Committee on Petroleum Downstream, and 129 others had filed an appeal to the High Court's judgment through his counsel, Mr. Mike Okezome, SAN. Joined as respondent in the suit were Kabiru Liman Danahaji and 139 others, represented by Mr. Mahmoud Magaji, SAN, as lead counsel. The appellant had approached the appeal court challenging the decision on the ground that the Sokoto State High Court lacked jurisdiction to entertain the suit, among others. Justice Yakubu, who delivered the judgment, which was adopted by two other justices, Tijani Abubakar and Jamilu Tukur, decided that the lower court failed in its duty to properly evaluate the evidence before it. We'll be right back after this short break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. You are still on Sahara TV Now. We'll be taking the supplementary elections in focus. The Independent National Electoral Commission yesterday released the results of the supplementary governorship election it conducted in some states where elections were declared inconclusive earlier. The governorship runoff poll were held in the following states: Sokoto, Plateau, Kano, Benue, and Bauchi. In the election results declared yesterday, the Sokoto State Governor Aminu Tambuwal and his Benue State counterpart Samuel Otom emerged victorious at the governorship supplementary election conducted in the state on Saturday under the platform of the People's Democratic Party, PDP. On the other hand, the All Progressive Party candidates, Governor Simon Lalong of Plateau State and his Kano State counterpart, Abdullahi Ganduje, were also returned elected by INEC. Here is a video of the announcement of Sokoto State.
APC 511,660. Tambuwal Amin Waziri, PDP 512,002. That Tambuwal Amin Waziri of People's Democratic Party, having satisfied and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and is returned. AP
pulled 512,002 votes to defeat his SY deputy Ahmed Aliyu of the APC, who garnered 511,660 votes to secure a second term in office. Announcing the final result of the election yesterday, the state returning officer, Professor Fatima Mukhtar, said the total registered voters were 1,887,767 and accredited voters were 1,083,413. She put the votes cast at 1,067,994, while the number of rejected votes was 31,662. Declaring Tambuwal the winner of the poll, the returning officer said Aminu Tambuwal, having satisfied the constitutional requirements, is hereby declared the winner of the election. The hall erupted with shouts of Allah Akbar, meaning God is great, and Sai Mutawali, the governor's traditional title. The resident electoral officer, Malam Sadiq Musa, had earlier said the declaration of the winner would be based on a simple majority. Before the winner was announced, there was apprehension over the late collation and transmission of result from the Kebe local government area, which forced the Mukhtar to suspend the declaration of the results around 3:45 a.m. on Sunday to 9 a.m. The results from the local government were considered vital on account of its dense voters population of 20,015 and the high number of polling units put at 35. Meanwhile, the governor has dedicated his victory to the resilience and unalloyed trust the people of the state reposed in his administration. INEC declares Otom winner in Benue. Also, the Benue State Governorship Returning Officer, Mr. Sebastian Maimako, declared Otom as the winner of the governorship election. He said Otom polled 434,473 votes to defeat his closest opponent, Mr. Emmanuel Jain, the APC candidate, who scored 345,155 votes. Otom had, during the governorship election on March 9, polled 410,576 votes. Jaim got 16,133 votes. Maimako said, according to the supplementary election results, Otom put 23,897 votes, while Jaim got 16,103. Maimako said the number of total registered voters is 2,471,894, while accredited voters are 858,947. Number of valid votes is 830,954, while rejected votes is 15,268. And the number of total vote cast is 846,222. Otom scored 434,473 votes, while Jaim scored 345,155 votes. That Samuel Otom of the PDP, having satisfied the requirement of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected. APC PDP supporters disagree as Ganduje wins Kano runoff. Ganduje was yesterday declared the winner of the governorship election after he garnered 1,033,695 votes to beat the PDP candidate, Mr. Abba Yusuf, who scored 1,024,713 votes. Here is a video of the announcement of Kano results.
Ganduje Abdullahi Umar of APC received 1,033,695 votes. Abba Kabir Yusuf of PDP received 1,024,713 votes. That Ganduje Abdullahi Umar of All Progressive Congress, having satisfied the requirement of the law and scored the highest number of votes, is hereby declared the winner and is returned elected.
In the result announced by INEC in Kano, Ganduje, who sought re-election for a second term, defeated the PDP candidate, Mr. Abba Yusuf. The PDP alleged that the election, which Ganduje won with 8,982 margin, was marred by violence, voters' intimidation, and other malpractices. However, in the supplementary poll, the governor got additional 45,876 votes, to cancel the lead and bring its final tally to 1,033,695. On his part, Yusuf scored additional 10,239 votes from the supplementary election. That brings its total to 1,024,713. The declaration was made by the state INEC returning officer, Professor Bello Shehu. But ahead of the announcement of the final result, the PDP and APC supporters engaged one another in a shouting match as they disagreed over the outcome of the rerun poll. The clash occurred as Shehu collated the result of Nasarawa, a key local government area where 38,181 voters registered in Gama ward. The APC won in Gama, the crucial swing ward, by polling 10,536 votes to PDP's 3,409 ballots. But the PDP members of the Collation Center protested against the figures, insisting that the election did not take place at the ward. They also demanded the cancellation of the entire supplementary election on the grounds that it was marred by violence and other forms of fraudulent practices. The APC members at the Collation Center immediately reacted by insisting that the result must stand, a development that fueled a shouting match between supporters of the two parties. Plateau, Hussaini kicks as INEC declares Lalong winner. Meanwhile, INEC in Plateau State yesterday declared Lalong as the winner of the Saturday's election, but the PDP candidate Jeremiah Hussaini has rejected the result, describing it as a sham. The election, which was a runoff in 9 local governments of the state, was a follow-up to the earlier one conducted on March 9, which could not produce a winner between the two leading candidates. However, the INEC returning officer in the state, Professor Richard Kimball, who announced the results in Jos, said Lalong scored 595,582 votes to defeat 23 other candidates, including Hussaini, who garnered 546,813 votes. The returning officer stated that 1,159,954 valid votes were recorded, while 16,188 others were rejected, saying 1,176,142 was the total number of votes cast. According to him, the result of the 9 local government areas that took place in the supplementary poll, including Barken Ladin, Bassar, Bokos, Jos North, Kanam, Langtang South, Mango, Pakshin, and Shedam, showed that Lalong scored additional 12,327 new votes, while Hussaini got 8,487. He added that there was no cancellation of results during the supplementary poll, but in his acceptance speech, which he delivered shortly after he was declared winner on Saturday, Lalong said his victory was a referendum by the people to move the state to the next level. Lalong said the outcome of the exercise in the state was clearly an amazing show of confidence and trust which the people had for his administration. However, Hussaini rejected the result of the governorship poll. Hussaini, who addressed a press conference in Jos on Sunday, a few hours after INEC declared Lalong the winner, said the result of the governorship election, as announced by INEC, did not reflect the voting pattern of the people, whom he claimed voted for him massively at the poll. Up next is our interview segment. Please don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
As commentator Peter Opara joining us this morning. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, so let's talk about the elections that will be happening. INEC has commenced the movement of sensitive materials across these states that have been affected, and where supplementary elections or reruns will happen in a couple of hours. What are your thoughts about the process and the anticipation or the build-up to the process?
There is no problem with the process. If an election was not concluded, the logical thing to do is to have a supplementary or make-up election. So if INEC, after the state gubernatorial and House of Assembly elections on the 9th of March, felt, maybe by going through the electoral law, which you have already quoted, and they felt that the margin between the two leading candidates is could be adjusted. That is, if a particular number of people who otherwise would have voted were allowed to vote. That is where you get inconclusive elections, because it's about a scenario where you have a constituency, let me say a state. You have 500,000 voters in the state, and 300,000 voted. But now leading candidate had 200,000 votes, and the other candidate, the candidate following him, has 100,000 votes, with a margin of 100,000. The fact that 200,000 people did not vote calls for another process, so that the 200,000 people will vote, because they are capable of deciding or changing the electoral process. So that's how you get supplementary election. There is nothing strange about it. I'm just surprised that some people are making fuss about the whole thing. Supplementary elections are in order, and they are provided for in the Electoral Act, so there is nothing wrong, absolutely wrong about that.
Could the force that people, or could the controversies that are being generated by people concerning the rerun of the elections come from the fact that a certain number of issues or factors marred elections, the last gubernatorial elections that we had? Yeah,
some of those certain issues are also envisaged in the Electoral Act. Maybe issues that had to pertain to violence, issues that had to pertain to maybe malfunctioning of the technology for the election, and other issues, sundry issues. When you now calculate the votes of people who otherwise would have voted, but who didn't vote on a particular election, and you find out that it is significant enough to decide the election. So the logical thing is, do the listen. Let me tell you, the controversy you are talking about are just deliberate controversies, because these are well spelled out in the electoral law, and logically or naturally you can see why it is so. So many people, politicians, they enter into a game to win at all costs. They want to be declared winners by all means. They raise unnecessary controversies that should not have been there.
An example of this controversies are allegations by some Nigerians that the ruling All Progressives Congress connived with INEC to declare elections inconclusive in states where the People's Democratic Party, which is the major opposition, had substantive lead over the All Progressives Congress.
That is not there. That is not true. Why it is not true is that when you look at some of those states, maybe a candidate may be leading by 3,000 votes, and you have over 100,000 votes, and you now say, see, let me tell you, PDP is just being mischievous by that allegation, because they knew it used to happen. In 2015, Rochas Okorocha was leading by over 78,000 votes in Imo State, but the election was declared inconclusive, and a make-up election was held. And after that make-up election, he was declared the winner. So it is not even a new thing. But the fact that we didn't have much of it during the PDP days, they are taking us back to, is because the election then we are just, state managed affairs. We are election figures, votes we are allocated before the election day. And on the election day, you just announce, so how can you have a conclusive election under that situation? Inconclusive election speaks of the credibility of the system, because it allows competitors to go to the field and for every vote to count. I don't see any reason why anybody can have, maybe you have 100,000, or sorry, you have about 3,000 vote difference. You feel that the election should be declared, irrespective of the fact that over 100,000 people have not cast their votes. It is not logical. I believe that what PDP is just doing is just scaremongering, and I think it is very deliberate, because they felt that why didn't INEC announce the result and give all the reason and allow and leave the, was it what the Electoral Act said? That is not true. So when you look at the whole thing, the back and forth thing, it is in the way of politicians to always speak where it favors them. But then we must go back to the electoral law. What does the electoral law say on that? Where you have a sort of a situation where the margin could be affected by the number of people that didn't vote, who otherwise would have voted but didn't vote, you go for a supplementary. I don't see any reason why there should be any controversy over that. Those
people who did not vote for reasons that the INEC has come out to list as first violent. They were violent in some areas. For example, in Benue State, there was overvoting in other areas. There was hijack of electoral materials by thugs and hoodlums. And these were the factors that gave rise to the increase in the chances of the supplementary elections that we're having today. Have these issues, have you seen, or is there a deliberate move by INEC to correct these issues to ensure that they do not reoccur in Saturday's?
We shall see that during the conduct of the supplementary elections. We will not be able to say for certain that this is what's going to happen. You know, maybe the violence may still reoccur, and possibly it may force actions from INEC. But let us not even deviate from the issue. The point is that most of these people were prevented from voting for due to one reason or the other.
Yes.
It is quite different from where you have concluded voting. Possibly you have 5,000 voters and only 5 came. That one is concluded. You don't go there because everybody had the opportunity to vote, but many people did not turn out. This has to do with, like, due to some of these factors, people were not allowed to exercise their franchise. And INEC say, okay, let us go there. If by Saturday we now find out that these are intractable situations, violence will still continue, or some of these reasons we mentioned will continue, then it now behoves on INEC to take the best possible action. But so far, there have been no reason for us to believe that on Saturday the same thing will occur again, because these are localized elections. If it's about security, you can now direct, increase security on these given areas. If it's about, no, I don't even see some of those things occurring on Saturday.
What do you estimate that the voter turnout will be?
The voter turnout may still be in the region of the elections we just had. We may not specifically say that the voter turnout, what we even experience in most cases is that in some of these supplementary elections, voter turnouts are always low. And that was because, let me tell you, in most of these elections we have, there are some extraneous factors that we have brought in to maybe boost the votes of some candidates or some parties. In supplementary elections, one is that it is better policed. It is better managed because they are in few localized cases. So whatever is the voters' turnout may not even be material to the discussion at hand.
All right, so you talked about the presence, the possibility of a heavy police presence in Saturday's polls. Yesterday at the Senate, there was a heated deliberation about the militarization of the process of the just concluded elections. What are your thoughts about that? So did you perceive or feel, that there was
nothing abnormal about that? It has been happening in every election in Nigeria. There have been no election where the military does not play significant role. Let me take you back to 2003 elections, Obasanjo's election here. There was heavy deployment of security for the sake of, let's say in the Southwest, to take over the Southwest. And since then, the military plays a role in elections. See, these people are just being very mischievous.
Don't you think that when the military is present, the military is controlled by the ruling party, whose head is the commander-in-chief of the armed forces?
And which other agency is not controlled by the ruling party? Which other agency is not controlled? And INEC should be controlled by the ruling party. Police by the ruling party.
Are you
No. That they are controlled by the ruling party does not make. Let me tell you, if you work very well on election day, presidential election, the first election, everywhere was reporting good, free, fair. All these candidates that are complaining today, we are saying the election was very good. This and it's only when results started coming out that we now have rigging. When results started coming out. In their various localities, you saw them. Even in the conduct of the military, and nobody complained until results start coming out. So these are just mischievous.
There was an incident where one of the presidential candidates, of the African Action Congress, was voting, or after he had voted in his village, and some journalists were covering the elections with drones and all that. We saw military interference. It was streamed. It was live streamed, and we've had reports from other places, especially in the March 9 elections, like Rivers State, for example, which
let me tell you, we are coming to Rivers State. Rivers State is a syndicated process. It is a deliberate
But
process to
before we go
compromise the
Rivers,
security.
Let's talk about the military.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, that's I'm coming.
But
Rivers.
these are instances.
No,
because
I'm coming. I'm
mentioned-
coming in. I'm coming into the. I'm answering the military this using Rivers as because that was the area where you saw that this military did this, military did that. Are you getting it? And in 2015, so much killings happened in that Rivers. So much killings happened in Rivers, and now it was a case of now I control the talks. Why are you bringing in the military to stop them? These things are very, very clear. That was in Rivers. It was in Rivers State that you even had issues of there were security breaches, except maybe one or two places you had some infractions here and there all over the country. It was in Rivers State and possibly one or two states in the south. And that should be understood. There is this deliberate strategy to undermine the process using political armed talks. And if the military had not been in Rivers, you could have imagined the kind of deaths that would have been recorded in that place, and all this hoopla about the military should go, the military should go. Well, it's about release the military so that we can do what we know how to do best.
But then again, one will be tempted to ask, why is Rivers the exception, to the rule? Because
that is the issue.
States such as Lagos State, we saw massive ballot box snatching that was documented and was even live in some instances.
See, let me tell you, it depends on who is reporting.
No military intervention.
It depends on who is reporting. Most often we have slanted reports going about massive ballot boxes. We are all observant during the election time. It is not as if we are this massive ballot boxes snatched in Lagos, for instance. It was only one incident in Okota where in a polling booth there was violence in Lagos State on the presidential election. Where were these massive ballot boxes snatched in Lagos? Where? So most often, let me tell you, it depends on who is reporting. So all of these slanted reports on election day. And why did you think that international observers, local observers, everybody's rated the election as free, fair, and credible? Why was it so?
Have you considered the fact that Nigeria is a key country in the African continent and probably wants stability?
No. Let me tell you, this is not. Stop it there. No. Which kind of stability? Before the election, we noted the kind of reaction from the international community. They were adverse. But on election day, every international observer rated the elections as free and fair and credible.
But we've also had observers from the European Union come out to claim that they were, some of the observers in the field were harassed by military officials. We've seen the BBC, for example, where a BBC journalist was slapped by thugs of a senator who was recontesting,
So you see, some of these things you don't rule it out in an election. You don't rule out maybe one or two pockets of issues in elections. But overall, at the end of the day, what was the summation of European Union verdict on the election? That's what we look at. So most often, some of these things are, before the election, there were massive propaganda to discredit the election, even before it's held. But to the surprise of many, and I say I stand to be corrected on that, everybody, everywhere was thumbing the election high until results started coming in. And we now started, why did people come out in this part of the day and they didn't come out in this part, and all those kind of hogwash, So how I looked at it, because we are discussing about the military. The military cannot stay away from the conduct of elections in Nigeria. And they have never stayed away from the conduct of election because they provide security. They provide bulwarks against armed political thugs who are trained to kill and snatch results. And now when you now remove the military, you now liberalize the theater of war.
Should that be something that is done before elections to ensure that these talks, should there be a process of disarming talks, for example?
You see, when the president...
So that the military does not interfere.
When the president talked about shooting ballot box snatchers, I thought that every Nigerian, if you are now desirous of free and fair election, would have said, yes, that is right. So that no ballot box snatcher will just come in. But we saw a political party, the political party that have been crying about rigging all these years, now come out and say, why are you shooting ballot box snatchers?
But there's a provision in the constitution for snatching of ballot box, and it recommends 24 months imprisonment for anyone who snatches a ballot box.
Good.
Why will the commander-in-chief of the armed forces, who is encouraging people to be lawful in their conduct, contravene the law of, the federal...
How many people have been sentenced to 24 months imprisonment before? How many people? See, let me tell you, law, all those things are about deterrent. Why will you go and snipe ballot box and wait for 24 months imprisonment? We are talking of building a Nigeria.
To take the laws into their own
It's
hands.
not about taking the laws into the hand. And he now, what he said was that anybody trying to snipe ballot box should be, or what we said, should ensure that is his last act, which we now interpreted as shoot at this. That is a deterrent. Go and stay at home. Why will you set out on your house to snipe ballot boxes and now argue about the legality or otherwise of it? Ballot box, is it now illegal or this and that? We should encourage people to now go and snap ballot box so that we can argue about the legality after that. You know? So why I brought it is that why can't Nigerians try and be civilized about conduct of elections in Nigeria? Why must we be running around people?
If you're encouraging civility in the conduct of elections, you just supported the president for saying that he should shoot the military.
Welcome back to Sahara TV Now. That was our interview with Mr. Peter Opara, a public affairs analyst. You can watch the full clip of the whole interview on Sahara TV, whether on Facebook or on YouTube. Thank you so much for joining this episode, and we hope that we'll be here tomorrow and next when we come back. Till I come your screen again, I'm Zainab Yusuf. Enjoy your day.